Conor was so good on his feet back then.
So good.
Conor McGregor, who beat Eddie Alvarez, faced Khabib, have been a completely different fight. And this is post-Floyd. You get ready for a boxing match with one of the all-time greats. You got to take 6 months where you're not doing any takedowns, no leg kicks, no nothing. All you're doing is boxing.
I like the clips of him getting interviewed back in the day saying,
partying is weakness for the soul, my friend, so I try and avoid it.
clips now of him being like, he's no pumped
Oh, the
up
ship
and
has
fucking-
sailed. It's like, we want him to come back and it ain't happening.
Well, he knows too. Jimmy,
Of course he knows.
I'm getting ready for the most dangerous Conor McGregor there is. He got 5 years to heal, to reset.
Someone's out there enjoying themselves, minding their own goddamn business, but because it's Conor McGregor, they're taking pictures of him. They don't see, and there isn't paparazzi around when he's living his normal life. This is the point that Max Holloway made, not me, but it is a fair point, right? The man's probably always training. He's probably always lifting weights. Yeah, has he been burning the candle at both ends and enjoying himself a little bit? Yes, okay, so what? Let the man live. He's entitled to enjoy the riches of his spoils, okay? Right? You can't hold that against the guy. I like to enjoy myself. Conor McGregor's been out there living his best life. Fair play. Going around the world on his Lamborghini yacht and spending shitloads of dough, right? Fair play to him. But there's one thing he knows how to do, and that's fight. And he knows how to knock people out in the very first round as well. And that first round against Max Holloway is going to be very, very interesting. Max is going to have to be careful. He's not the type of guy to dance around and stay away and just just jab and jog. No, he's going to stand his ground and fight like a man.
Okay, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. Opening odds, we got Max Holloway on some websites a -700, McGregor a +330. That was the opening odds. Now the odds are a -210, McGregor a +180. So these odds makers are seeing the training. They're seeing Conor. He's fit. He's in shape. He's looking explosive. 37 years old now. If I was Conor's coach, I would do what we're doing. I mean, in this short of time, you're not going to train. You're not going to change the guy's style at all. But you got to have some sort of a mental type coach to have him as confident as he used to be, because his confidence and his aura in there is what scared everybody. And that's similar with Ilya. Ilya's aura before he got knocked out by Justin Gaethje, it scared everybody. It was like, oh fuck, this guy's like superhuman. Conor's not superhuman. He's normal. His limbs break. I mean, he's a normal guy. If I was training Conor, I would get him just it would be nothing special. Nothing special. You got to get him.
Let's get into it. The return of the Max Holloway. The Blessed Express is back, going against McGregor. Long 5 years, a crazy 5 years. I mean, if you're living the McGregor lifestyle. So which Conor are we gonna see back in this cage? Obviously, the last time we saw him, Dustin broke his leg. So just coming back from that is gonna be hard. But coming back from that, then coming back from drugs, then coming back from partying, then coming back from probably not doing anything, sort of training at all the last 5 years, which McGregor's gonna show up. I don't think we're gonna know until the cage door locks and we see at least three minutes. Then we'll have an idea of which McGregor we got, right? Is he still there? Does he still have any fight left in him? Does he still have any motivation left in him? He could talk the talk, right? We know he could talk, but fight night is where we see if he still has it. Max, last fight, obviously, lost to Oliveira, got taken down a lot, got held down a lot, controlled on the ground. I don't think we're gonna see any of that with McGregor. So I think it's all gonna take primarily on the feet.
I think win, lose, or draw, we get a very, very good version of Conor. I think Max is the perfect matchup. There is no perfect matchup after taking a 5-year layoff. But again, this is in boxing, so there's no warm-up. So to come back to be the caliber of star that Conor is, there's no warm-ups. You're gonna get a tough fight. Out of all the tough fights, all of them are tough. He'd be an underdog in every single one except for Michael Chandler, but that's not a big enough name to come back after a 5-year layoff. So that's why they're not doing it. But for all the tough matchups, stylistically, and this is crazy, I know, the safest matchup they could give him is Max Holloway after a 5-year layoff. Not a knockout artist, but he does have the capabilities and the footwork to embarrass you over 5 rounds, and you get beat up. But the chance of you ending up face down, ass up aren't that good, unless They do the point down thing, which has been played out so many times now, and they just throw caution to the wind. So it's kind of set up for Conor, you know, and what's on the line for him is, again, financially and also for his legacy. Financially, though, he beats, let's go through the scenario. If he beats Max Holloway, well, then in order to fight for a title or to get that next big matchup, which will be for sure be before April 2027, he'll get a title shot. Guarantee it, they offer him a title shot.
I think with McGregor being at 170, I think he'll be a little bit more durable. I think he's been heavy for a while. The fact that he doesn't have to cut the extra weight, I think, is a big advantage for Conor McGregor in this fight. McGregor may be slower, but again, he won't have to cut as much weight. Holloway is fighting at 170 for the first time. Is any of that power going to translate? I don't think Holloway has a lot of power to begin with. If you look at most of Holloway's wins, they are by decision, right? You look at it there, Poirier decision. Gaethje was a 5th round finish, and let's be honest, Gaethje kind of gave that away with the pointing to the ground, and you know his nose was broken, so that led to him getting the knockout. Korean Zombie shortly retired after this win in 2023, or not shortly retired, only a couple more fights later, then he ended up retiring. But look at this, Arnold Allen decision, Yair decision, Cater decision, should have pretty much finished Cater in that fight, I'll give him credit for that, but Holloway mainly does not finish his opponents. You have to go all the way back to like the Aldo fights where he's able to finish him, but typically he's not much of a finisher. Now, McGregor could get really tired in this fight. We've seen him have cardio issues and slow down, and maybe Holloway gets a TKO finish. I certainly could see that happening, but I think the big thing here for Holloway is just winning the fight, and I could see him being a little bit more conservative, maybe not trying to go for broke as much, knowing that McGregor still does have knockout power.
A lot of alcohol now. Apparently he's sobered up, but still, you know, he's done a lot of damage to his body in the time that he's been away from the sport. And I do think that in this matchup, dude, we're going to see Max Holloway go out there, survive the early storm from McGregor, eat the titanium shin bone, and yeah, I think he's going to knock out Conor McGregor in the 3rd round. So I'm going to be picking Max Holloway to knock out Conor McGregor in round number 3. Leave me know what you think in the comments below. I do want to say this now, I'm not going to be doing a live fight companion for the card. I'm going to be going out there.
With the MMA world preparing itself for the likely clash between Conor McGregor and Max Holloway, there is no doubt that experts have had their differing views as to what the fight would entail. Whereas some feel that Conor has precision, timing, and the deadly left hand, which makes him a live player against any opponent, others feel that it will be his cardio and toughness that will completely suffocate Conor in the 5-round period of the fight. Across the board, pro fighters and analysts are leaning into one big question. Can Conor land clean early, or does Max take over as the fight drags on?
How does this one end?
It's going to be a demolition. It's going to be an absolute demolition. I know
the way he says that smiling is so psychotic.
Damage he's taken. I know I will just have to touch him. And after that, it will be clinical. So to win alone is not just enough. It must be spectacular, and that it will be.
Okay, wow, no send-off there. The interview just stops. That's kind of a paramount. Get your shit together. But you heard it there at the end. Max has taken a lot of damage. All I need to do is touch him, and I agree with him. I know, I'm the same guy that said this is going to be a really tough matchup for Conor, and it will be. Conor's undersized at 170, but he's also already faced Max, and he also already knows what Max is susceptible to, and does somewhat better when guys are high volume strikers that don't have a ton of power in their hand. And yes, I do believe that there's a different version of both guys that are fighting. Conor is not the old Conor in good and bad ways, and Max is not the old Max in good and bad ways. I think Max's advantages are his volume, his gas tank. He has weaponized pace and cardio that Conor, it's very difficult for him to keep up the same pace and cardio for 5 rounds. I think Conor obviously has the speed. I think he has the power advantage.
But yeah, I guess the other part too, like if Max goes in there and puts a beating on him, is this the last time you see Conor? I mean, I doubt it. I suspect he'll try and like find another way to keep this train on the tracks. But like, what if he goes in there?
That's a great point.
Like shit, you know.
That's a great point, because is he the type of personality? Now he has lost, and he lost devastatingly to Dustin Poirier in the way, you know. But there was an injury. If he just gets outworked, you know, knocked out, just outworked, like, can he live with that? Like, that's the thing. I'm like, is he gonna, or is he gonna be like, no, now we're gonna see Conor want to turn around and come back in there quicker, you know, like, you know, within months, you know, that type of thing, because he just doesn't want to live with that. That'd be interesting to see too if it happens.
Despite commending Holloway's speed, Michael Bisping ensured to make it known that McGregor was still very dangerous in the early rounds. Fighting at 170 pounds adds even more strength in the hands of McGregor, and Bisping made sure that people remembered the great knockout record, where he finished off the likes of Jose Aldo, Eddie Alvarez, and Donald Cerrone. He also added that McGregor has already beaten Holloway in one fight in the past. Though Holloway has become much better, Bisping thought that McGregor's speed was very dangerous in the first round.
So that's the danger for Conor McGregor in this fight. But the danger for Max Holloway is that this fight is at 170 pounds. And one thing that Conor McGregor has always had is explosive knockout power. Knocked out Jose Aldo with pretty much the first punch. 13 seconds is all it took. Knocked out Eddie Alvarez in stunning fashion. Out of his entire career with Conor McGregor, I'm just scrolling down his Wikipedia page. There's a lot of stuff on here. Normally I would be there by now, but I'm nowhere near it. My God, we're going through all the pay-per-views. Right, here we are. 22 wins, 6 losses, 19 wins by way of knockout. So that's a crazy knockout ratio. Donald Cerrone, 40 seconds. Eddie Alvarez, Nate Diaz. Well, that was a decision, wasn't it? After getting beaten and choked out by Nate Diaz in the first one. Jose Aldo, Chad Mendes, Dennis Silva, Dustin Poirier the first time they fought, Diego Brandao, Max Holloway, which was the only time he went to a decision, by the way, going up through the ranks when he became the massive superstar that he is today, right? He couldn't finish Max Holloway then. Can he finish Max Holloway now? Because Max isn't quite as young. Max has taken more shots. Max just got beat of Charles Oliveira, but he didn't take much damage in that one.
As the conversation reached its conclusion, Bisping highlighted why he thinks that if the fight goes beyond the first few rounds, then the momentum would start favoring Holloway. The reason is that McGregor had cardio problems despite being in his prime, and that after almost 5 years away from fighting and at his advancing age, Bisping thinks that these kinds of problems would become more evident. Even though Bisping agreed that McGregor has definitely put in all his efforts to train for this return, he thinks that no one can have the same kind of hunger after getting everything that McGregor has. Turning to the upcoming matchup, Tim Welch admitted he finds the fight incredibly difficult to predict because he respects both athletes. He called Holloway one of the nicest people in the sport and emphasized how dangerous a 5-round striking battle would be after McGregor's lengthy layoff. While he isn't putting too much stock into the UFC countdown footage because those sessions can be misleading, Welch believes McGregor has likely prepared as well as possible. The real uncertainty, however, is whether 5 years away from real competition will affect him once the pressure of fight night arrives, whereas Holloway has remained active against elite opposition. According to Holloway, Welch doesn't think that he will change too much for this fight. He thinks that Max should prepare for this fight in almost the same manner as he prepared for his fight against Dustin Poirier, since they are very similar opponents from a stylistic point of view. Welch recommended being patient at the start of the fight, moving around, and not throwing many combinations of punches while there is still danger, but then to slowly control the fight. Bilal Muhammad believes Holloway should make McGregor work from the very beginning instead of allowing him to settle into a striking rhythm. While he expects the fight to mostly stay on the feet, he suggested that Holloway should mix in clinches or even takedowns early to tax McGregor's gas tank. In Bilal's view, McGregor will likely explode out of the gate because cardio was already one of his weaknesses during his prime. With 5 years away from fighting, extra muscle, and a move up to 170 pounds, Bilal expects McGregor to fade even faster if Holloway can survive the opening exchanges. After weighing both fighters' chances, Bilal ultimately picked Max Holloway to win. He believes 5 years away from the sport, combined with McGregor's lifestyle and recovery from injury, is simply too much to overcome against an active elite fighter. Bilal expects Holloway to be highly motivated after his recent loss and to recognize that beating McGregor would immediately put him in line for another massive opportunity. His official prediction is a Holloway stoppage, saying Max will gradually break McGregor down with body shots before finishing him by TKO. Maybe the biggest takeaway Demetrius Johnson took was from talking about McGregor's wrestling. Johnson claims that Conor has always had better grappling skills than he lets on. He just uses them sparingly in favor of strikes. Citing Max Holloway's recent defeat at the hands of Charles Oliveira, Johnson advises McGregor to strongly consider adding wrestling to his game plan going forward. Although Johnson knows it's not an easy task to take down Holloway, especially considering how good Max is at defending himself from takedowns, Johnson thinks that would give him a different way of winning. As the breakdown came to an end, Johnson went ahead to continue extolling the dominance of McGregor on the ground, while also commending Holloway on his defensive skills on the mat. Even though he did not give any prediction on which fighter was going to win, he made it very clear that viewing their first encounter had made him even more excited about the impending rematch. According to him, the two athletes have developed themselves to become different athletes from what they were when they first fought. For Brendan Schaub, McGregor's biggest strength is what people usually consider his weakness, the 5-year break. Schaub noted that while Max Holloway was busy fighting in the UFC, he also received a lot of punishment during those years. Max Holloway holds the record for significant strikes landed and taken. However, Conor McGregor got enough time to heal from the injury he sustained that broke his leg, which left him free from getting punished inside the octagon. Regardless of all this, Schaub did not go as far as to say that there would be a catastrophe waiting for McGregor. Instead, he stated that McGregor will present himself as a fighting competitor despite the outcome of the bout, and even mentioned that he sees this particular challenger as one of the nicer choices for a return match among the best fighters around. The thing is that while Holloway can destroy opponents within the first 5 rounds using his speed and quickness, Schaub mentioned that he does not have what it takes to knock someone out with just one punch. According to Artem Lobov, the major difference between these two fighters was all that happened during McGregor's long inactivity period. On the one hand, while Holloway competed actively, getting titles in different weight categories, on the other hand, McGregor was inactive for several years. In addition, Lobov wondered if it would be possible for Conor to demonstrate elite performance due to his way of life during that time. It seemed to Lobov that due to his cardio condition and activity, Holloway had better chances in case of a long-lasting fight. Looking ahead to the fight itself, Lobov expected McGregor to come out aggressively and have early success, but he didn't think it would be enough. He predicted that Holloway would weather the early pressure, absorb McGregor's attacks, and gradually take control as the Irishman slowed down. In Lobov's view, Holloway's pace and durability would eventually overwhelm McGregor, leading to a 3rd-round knockout victory. He finished by confidently picking Holloway to stop his former rival once the fight entered the later stages. At the end of the day, the predictions around Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway all circle back to one thing: pace versus precision. If Conor finds his rhythm early, lands that sharp left hand, and controls the distance, he absolutely has a path to victory. But if Max Holloway survives those early exchanges, the fight starts shifting into very dangerous territory for Conor. The volume, pressure, and endurance Max brings over 5 rounds have broken elite fighters before, and that's exactly why so many pros are leaning his way in the later rounds. Still, you can't count Conor out completely because of his ability to change a fight in a single moment. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Does Conor land early, or does Max take over late?